In 7, you discovered Luke obviously is a hermit on this island, that there's so much unsaid about where he's been and what he's done. And actors like to write their own backstories. You know, you want to figure out what you've done and where you've been. But I realized that wasn't really important to the story of Force Awakens. I still made it up myself. And, you know, I tried to show it to JJ, and he, you know, was accommodating, but basically patted me on the head, gave me a cookie, and made me go away. Because, you know, whatever, make it up. I mean, they allude to things that have happened, and to a certain extent, you know, it's not Luke's story anymore. But I think he's an important part of the overall arc of the saga. And again, there's a lot of mystery about him, even within the film. So you have to fill in your own backstory. I'm sure there'll be comic books and video games and novels that tell the story, but I'm
just going to break in here and make sure that everybody out there realizes he is so significantly important to this next film. You have no idea.
Well, that's good to hear.
Do we get to see Luke back in action?
Well, certainly back in a role that affects the overall storyline, because the end of 7 was just sort of a tease for the next installment. But here he has a much more pivotal role.
What's the biggest difference from when we last saw Luke in the end of Return of the Jedi to when we meet him now in The Last Jedi?
That's the mystery of the ages. Since it's no longer my story and there's a new protagonist, I had to try and fill in that for myself. It's not important to the story, but it is for the actor to try and figure out, who is this guy? How did the most optimistic, hopeful character in the galaxy turn into this hermit who says it's time for the Jedi to end? I read that and I said, what? I mean, that's not what a Jedi does. I mean, a Jedi is optimistic. A Jedi has tenacity. He never gives up. He doesn't secrete himself on an island. But you'll see. I mean, the wait for 8 is nearly over.
Yeah, because in Hollywood, remember, kids, it's not important if it's of high quality. Only if it makes money. Now, I don't want to, I mean, a good example would be Transformers. And to be completely fair to Michael Bay, I've never seen a Transformers film.
Is there anything that you want us to know going into The Last Jedi? Anything you want to tell the audience or the world about this one in comparison to the other ones?
It's the longest one. I think being pushed out of your comfort zone in this case was a good thing. Although I still say a Jedi would never give up. But that's old school. This is the new generation. I said to Ryan, I said, Jedis don't give up. I mean, even if he had a problem, he would maybe take a year to try and regroup. But if he made a mistake, he would try and right that wrong. So right there, we had a fundamental difference. But it's not my story anymore. It's somebody else's story. And Ryan needed me to be a certain way to make the ending effective. That's the crux of my problem. Luke would never say that. I'm sorry. Well, in this version, see, I'm talking about the George Lucas Star Wars. This is the next generation of Star Wars. So I almost had to think of Luke as another character. Maybe he's Jake Skywalker. He's not my Luke Skywalker, but I had to do what Ryan wanted me to do because it serves the story well. But listen, I still haven't accepted it completely, but it's only a movie. I hope people like it. I hope they don't get upset. And I came to really believe that Ryan was the exact man that they needed for this job.
I think there are much bigger surprises in The Last Jedi. In fact, the most important line I think Luke says is, "This is not going to go the way you think."
Oh, wow.
And when I read the script, I was stunned.
He has a much bigger part in Force Awakens than I do. But don't worry, in The Last Jedi, I promise you, my part will be twice as big. I remember thinking,
when I got to the scene, I hope everyone's seen it, but when the lightsaber jiggles in the forest and flies out of the snow, I went, oh, baby, here I am. Where I thought I came in is when the lightsaber wiggles in the snow and flies out. I said, here I am, baby. In the forest, when the lightsaber goes like this and flies off, I said, oh, what a great entrance. Ah! Ray caught it? She hasn't even been to Dagobah for training. What's the deal?
How was it being like back on set and just being back in the thick of it?
Well, I mean, the responsibilities of having to do more than rotate and remove a hood were enormous. Because, you know, after 2 years of anticipation, I better, you know, put up or shut up and do something interesting. Yeah. It certainly surprised me to hear Luke say it's time for the Jedi to end. I said, what?
Yeah.
Luke was the most optimistic, hopeful character. And
Yes.
I had a real, you know, sort of a back and forth with Ryan. I said, Ryan, a Jedi doesn't give up.
I remember you saying that, yeah.
You know, a Jedi, if he does something wrong, he makes it right. You know, even if he's traumatized and goes away, he regroup within, I don't know, 6 months, but 20, 30 years? Oh, come on, that's a little bit overindulgent in my view.
What can you give us about The Last Jedi? Anything at all?
Well, as it says in the trailer, things are not going to go the way you think. And when I read the screenplay, I said, oh my gosh, that line is, there's nothing more true than that line. I mean, for Luke to say that the Jedi must end, what happened to this guy? He was the most hopeful, optimistic character, and now he's some elderly recluse.
Our boy who becomes a hero and now returned to that character all these years later, what journey, without obviously giving it away, but what arc is left for a guy who's been through what Luke Skywalker has been through?
I don't think any line in the script epitomized my reaction more than this is not going to go the way you think. And Ryan pushed me out of my comfort zone as if I weren't as intimidated and terrified to begin with. But
Did your vision and Ryan's vision, did it coincide with the way that Luke ends up in this film that you thought it would all these years later?
No.
What I want to know is, how is it for you, how is it different than any of the other movies?
It's longer. I said to him, I said, Ryan, Jedis don't give up. I got to stop thinking old school, because this is the new generation. In this generation, not only they give up, but they move to an island for 20 years. On this film, what's it called again? Last Jedi. But yeah, well, I said to JJ, it's too bad that Luke and Leia can't rush to Han Solo's side. I mean, we won't be reunited, and we'll still be too late to save him, but at least we have some history between us so that when he dies, it has a tragic element that resonates into the next film, instead of having whoever was there, Finn and Rey. Yeah. What, have they known him 20 minutes? Well, Chewie was there, so that's not completely a fair argument. But as usual, JJ was right and I was wrong. I thought fans would object to the fact that the three of us don't all get together. Yeah. They didn't seem to mind. Now you've seen in the new trailer, Luke says it's time for the Jedi to end. That's terribly shocking. Yeah. I thought, I don't want to go there. I want to be the optimistic, hopeful one like before. But it's better to surprise people. And it's getting harder and harder to find ways to surprise them, because they've seen so much and they expect so much.
So you say, I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end.
Well, if you take it on its face, I was shocked when I read that. Totally shocked. Because you say to yourself, what could have happened to Luke that he would have that idea in his head? I said, look, I think I know the Jedi philosophy, and a Jedi would never give up. If he made a mistake, he would try and correct it. So that was tough. And I realized this is, I probably will anticipate a line. This is not going to go the way you think.
This is not go. You're right. And you said that was a very important line.
Yeah, because it's not.
Luke training Rey in this movie, it seems like he's in the position Yoda was with Luke in The Empire Strikes Back. Is it sort of like when your parents say you'll understand when you're older? Does he finally learn some of Yoda's lessons now that he's the teacher?
Well, you're assuming that I train Ray.
Exactly. Sneaky.
Do I?
Sneaky.
I know, I have to be really careful. People say, was it difficult to pick up and wield a lightsaber again? And I go, do I pick up a lightsaber?
Is it difficult acting in this movie? Am
Well-
I in this movie?
I can promise you my part is twice as big as it was in Force Awakens.
Last one, we lost Han Solo, you know, no more. Here, you're saying goodbye to Carrie Fisher. What's that like?
It's tough. I mean, first of all, I was frustrated when I read the first script and I said, we don't have any scene, even a brief reunion at all. I objected to that and I said, I think the fans are not going to like it. I was wrong. As it turns out, there was no backlash. It was as shocking to me to read what Ryan had written as I'm sure it will be for the audience. When I read 8, I told Ryan, I fundamentally disagree with virtually everything you've decided about my character.
Surprised by what Ryan chose to do.
Yes, I was very surprised. And I have to tell you, and I should have realized that when I read 7, I said, I love everybody's part except mine. And on this one, it was similar in the sense that I said to Ryan, I'm so surprised how you see Luke.
Are you bummed that Luke didn't get sort of a reunion with Han Solo?
Absolutely. In fact, when I was reading it, I thought, if Leia's trying to mentally contact me and she's not successful, she'll rush to his aid. She'll get close to him and then get into some dire situation, and that's when I show up for a big yay, save her life. Then we rush to Han and are in the same position that Rey and Finn and Chewie are. Too late to save him, but witnesses. And I say, because it would carry so much emotional resonance into the next film. For us, his wife, his best friend to witness, instead of two characters that have known him, what, 20 minutes? Instead of Finn and Rey coming and almost saving Han, what if it's Leia and I? You don't see, I said, keep me out of it like you want till the very end. She's trying to contact me all through the movie.
She is.
She's unsuccessful, so she goes herself, and, you know, she's about to be abducted by 2 costume guards. One guard turns to the other guard, shoots the guard, takes off his helmet, and it's me. That I did get her message. I said, number 1, it's a hell of an entrance. Number 2, it's misdirection. They think that Leia's going to get it. And then we go, we got to go get him. And we rush, and we're back on a Death Star, very similar, okay? We rush to his aid, and we don't alter what you want to do. But if we witness Han dying, that has so much emotional resonance that will carry into the next film. That was my suggestion. And as you see...
They just listen to everything.
Well, no, I told that.
The Jedi must end. I know that you can't get into detail, but when you read that line, what was your initial reaction?
Well, I was stunned. Luke was the most optimistic character. He was the one that represented hope. So I thought, what could have happened between Return of the Jedi and now that he would be like this? Listen, they put that out in the trailer because I thought, for the most part, the trailer's going along and they're showing all the visuals and so forth, but they're not telling you the story.
That's what I love about him.
Yeah, and that's the only plot element they revealed, which is pivotal. It's like, it's the most important aspect of my return, because you have to imagine what kind of trauma has he experienced that he would become this embittered hermit. Oh, you know, I mean, everyone expects my first line to be, I told you to get off my island. Let's all repeat the mantra, it's only a movie. And if you think you're going to go into the movie and recapture your childhood, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
It was shocking to read that in the script. I only know one truth. It's time for the Jedi to end. I thought, are you kidding me? Jedis don't quit. They never give up. I'm in awe of the entire cast. And aside from Daisy, I look forward to working with them one day.
Oh, we can't end on that note, can we? I'm afraid we have to, because that is all we've got time for.